Well, you went on to do extremely well in business, but you also kept your fingers in the pie with the CFL. What made you decide to get involved, first of all, with the PA?
Well, I was the player rep for the Eskimos at the time, and then of course, that led to the league meetings or the player association meetings, and I thought, well, maybe it'd be a good learning experience. And here's the really cool thing: is that George Reed was the president of the PA at the time, and Ed Molstead was our general counsel, and. We would all these young guys would sit in the room, and when we would have our PA meetings, and we'd all yammer on about our views on this and that, and George would say nothing. He would listen to us. We would just be arguing with each other, and we'd be sharing our grand thoughts and ideas, and then George would just kind of just in his own very quiet way start talking, and then everybody would shut up, and no matter what we had said didn't matter, because at that point George was taking over, and he had this amazing quiet but very impactful leadership style. And I remember he was listening to us, formulating his own thoughts, but once George started to talk, there was only one person in the room that counted, and that was George Reed. And that was another part of being part of the CFL. And at that point, the PA that came to me, that seemed to me to be one of those things that almost you can't count just how much it meant, because I got to be part of George Reed's world for a while. And that's a pretty special world to be part of. And I will never be able to, I'll never again be able to repay George for the things I learned from him and the way he handled his business. George really understood how to be a real partner to the league. And while he battled with the league, in the end, George wanted a win-win. George wanted, both sides to do well. And I watched him negotiate with the league on various issues. And I always admired that he was steadfast. We're seeing today in the world some of this zero sum, winners and losers mindset. And I think George was the ultimate win-win guy. And I've tried to emulate that during my career in business.